Alright, so I'm an idiot. I've already recorded this video, kind of, about this particular thing, but I ended up deleting the wrong video on accident, uh, which was about maybe 2 weeks ago, so I haven't made it again until just now. Anyways, so I got this. I got this for Christmas time, and it's February, so you can kind of see where my priorities lie when it comes to work. But anyways, I got this for Christmas. It's supposed to be like an apocalyptic zombie kind of makeshift sort of weapon. And it kind of, it has a look for it. I'm going to straight up tell you right off the bat my complaints on it. The wrap. Don't like the wrap. I hate wrap. I like wrap. I don't like this kind of wrap. So, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I don't like it for the simple fact that it doesn't feel good. To me, I just don't like it, especially when it's done like this. On a katana, there's some kind of wrapping, and it works because it stays in place. Like, you might kind of feel it move, but it doesn't move enough to where it really messes with you, I guess. Whereas this, it's wrapped around there, and it's wrapped around with this kind of cheap, kind of like shoestring sort of stuff. It's not cozy, and it's not even like wrapped well. There's a missing piece there, mostly because you can push it down. It moves far too frequently. And then it's got duct tape or electrical tape at the bottom of it, behind the bottom of it, which I'm assuming is wood. Something hard to give it like a bigger grip to hold on to. Right here in the center is where it's thin, so I'm gonna say it's a full-on tang, but it's just right there. I don't like that. I get it's supposed to like kind of be like a makeshift weapon. You know, you're in the middle of the apocalypse. You don't have the right stuff to make a kind of weapon that you need. So you just kind of have this, do what you have at your disposal. But it's just. I mean, that blade is nice, but the friggin' handle is just the worst part about this. The wrapping moves far too much. It's not on there. It's made of bad material. And then this part I think this is supposed to like keep your hand in place if you're holding it right there, but it's too small. So your hand can still slide down it. It doesn't stop it, unlike this, to where I can, even if I'm putting some muscle into it, I can't push my hand past it. But this one, I definitely can. And as you can tell, it's kind of two-handed. I can use it single-handed, like a normal machete. Difference is that you got at least a good foot here, or close to a foot of shaft that I gotta have to try to. It's weird because like I'm trying to go for just a normal hip, just like a downward cut. If I'm doing this quickly, there's a good chance I could. Yep, I just stabbed myself in the hip bone. It's right there, so it's more. If you're really wanting to cut with this, you want to do like that. You want to do. What was it? It was horizontal. I always get those two mixed up. You want to do just like that, because if you do something like a downward or just like that, there's a good chance you're just going to stab yourself in the gut, and it's not going to do you very good. I mean, you can also do it two-handed. You can do it like this, get a little more leverage, or you can do two-handed for some more power. I'd really prefer to do it this way. Classic, kind of like you're swinging a mini baseball bat. Instead of like this, to where you could use this if it was like a way bigger blade, but it just feels weird. It just feels really weird. It feels like I'm not even having anything in my hands. It just feels like I'm just downward cutting. Onto the blade, I guess. Blade itself isn't really too bad. When I first got this, I was actually cutting pretty thick-sized branches down. They got a little bit bigger. And I didn't really think it would do that. I really thought it would like do something to the blade, but the edge still looks great. There's no warps in it. There's no chips. There's no nothing there. Funny story actually. I went in and I did a cut into the to the branch, and I just left it there. I was just kind of looking at it. I'm like, because I was kind of impressed that it actually dug in that deep and that it actually held. But a few seconds later, a whole, like, the larger part of the branch fell down, just smashed on the ground, and I just stared at it like, holy shit. So yeah, it actually has a lot nicer of an edge than I thought. And I don't know if you're going to really be able to tell, but there's a slight curvature in there. It's not great. It more starts at the very tip here, and then I'd say like right when it gets to halfway through, maybe a little more is when it stops curving, and it just it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a very bad straight line, I'd say. But adding on to that, they also got like kind of like a back hook here. It's not sharpened. It's not even sharpened here. Once it's the blade, the edge really stops like right there, right at the tip there. Right here, that's just a false edge. The hook isn't sharpened, which, if I really wanted to, I probably could sharpen it. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's just you have like a little war spike right there, just come down and have it pierce. Though I would say it's probably, if I took, because it's the edge here, just the end is just comes straight down, so it's not angled out. So really, even if I did that, I'd have to be very specific, I suppose. Especially if the point's right there. But I could do it. I probably won't do it though, because I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, it's got kind of like a edge, saw edge right there. It's not sharpened. Of course, it's pointy because it's metal and it's a triangular shape. But it's not. You couldn't cut down a tree with that or saw down a tree with it. It's just not sharp enough. But if you look at there, a little blood to cow. That's what I kind of. I'm a man of simple tastes. That's really it. If it's black, it's all right, to a degree. I don't like the overly, black blades and stuff like that, because then it's just, I don't know. There's just not a lot of color to it. It's not a lot of shape to it. This one I do kind of like though, because at the very least you have. I do like the mixture of the silver edge mixed with like a black surface. I always kind of like that. It's just nice difference because you have something brighter than darker. But yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. It comes from Fantasy Master, though I wouldn't really call this fantasy. Or zombies fantasy, I always thought that was horror. Or I guess horror can be fantasy itself. But yeah, anyways, yeah, it's a nice little deal to it. It actually had a lot more power behind it than I thought. When I was doing the cuts, I did different, hands. I did singular like this. I had to do it a different way, though. I did kind of dual-handed, farther, closer. Closer is when I was able to get a lot more power into it. And it dug in really nicely. I did enjoy that. And here, the sheath actually comes with a really nice sheath with it, too. So I got another blade, my scimitar, the Arabian Sands scimitar. I did a video on. It's made of, I want to say it's nylon, but it's got the kind of the same deal to it. It also has this. I had somebody tell me that you could put this on a belt, but I don't know if it's supposed to hang. Like, I don't even know how I would get my belt through there. I guess I just slide it through there, but I feel like it'd wobble too much. Yeah, would wobble too much. I don't like it. But it's got a nice. This one is actually, I really enjoy it for the simple fact that it's made out of thicker material. One of my machetes, the sheath was so damn thin. I only had the machete for under 5 minutes before I went to go put it back in to its sheath, and it tore right through it. Granted, this one doesn't really have a tip, so it couldn't do that anyways. But it's made of a nice, sturdy material. It comes with 4 straps, 2 for the handle, 2 for the blade. Which, I mean, you really don't need the very tip one here. Just because, I mean, yeah, it's long, but you don't really need to buckle up all 4 of them. But it's not. It's a nice material. It actually does come with a belt loop. So I don't know why you need that. I always kind of just throw it over my shoulder. There you go. Feel like I'm going to school in Japan. Does it look good? Is it working? I don't think it's working. But yeah, it's a nice deal to it. There's some things I would change on it. Like maybe have the spike here actually be spiky. Because I think that'd make it a lot more apocalyptic looking. however you want to say that. Because right now it's a nice look to it. I mean, what would be really kind of cool is having the whole back part here sharpened, which I could probably do that myself. Then have the tip here actually be a spike. That way you could do a little bit different stuff. I mean, you could do like a thrust cut with this thing, sort of deal, just kind of deal like that. And then you can also just do all kinds of different stuff with it, other than just having the single edge there. I can come back here and I can just drill the spike into somebody's head. I'd also change the handle. I would actually make this one solid, thick piece, instead of just having one thing there, having that there, and then having this, because really this just doesn't do for me. I really want to put my hand here, kind of like how I would hold a katana, having a little bit of space between it, and way I could bring it down without having to have my hands far too close. But then that just digs into my hand. And it's not really all that comfy, and it just doesn't look all that good. This is just cheap stuff right there. It's just, I feel like I could find this kind of stuff at the dollar store. Like if my shoelaces get broken, I can just go there and buy these and get, buy this and get a new one. And then the duct tape is, I understand it's supposed to look like kind of like a makeshift sort of weapon, like something you'd go into, you go into a house, you find a bunch of stuff, and you just make something out of it. Like this could be a machete, and they just, didn't have a handle, so they just slapped some wood on there and made it a little bit longer. But the way it is, it's very uncomfortable. The wrapping here is very. It's not like sandpaper, but it's just not comfortable. Like if you try to get a good enough grip on there, just the way that it's all twisted on there, just to make it there, to wrap it all the way around, it does kind of dig into your hand a little bit, and it's not like it really does much because it shifts too much. I'm just moving. It's moving. I don't even have that hard of a grip on there. Even with a hard grip, my hands can still move. And that, I don't enjoy too much. I don't want something that's going to twist in my hand unless I really want it to. Like if I'm trying to, change my grip, you want it to have it like that, but just like that, it moves too much. I don't like that. But that's really my biggest complaint on it, is just really the hilt, the shaft, the handle, whatever you want to call it. It's just not that good to me. I mean, if I was making a blade, I can understand like it being, a makeshift deal. I can understand wanting to try and make something a little bit different, something you can actually use with limited items, but just the way it is, it's not that good. Really, if I was going to do something like this, if I was going to do, like have the wood here, I'd make it one solid piece instead of just having something like that. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to find like a long piece of wood. Have it there, drill a hole through it, connect it, and if you really wanted to make it comfortable, because what they did do is looks like they sanded down the parts here to kind of make it more like an oval, more comfortable grip, so you don't have edges digging into your hand. But do something like that, and then just try to sharpen this just a little bit. I mean, in reality, you really don't even need the spike here. I'd probably take rid of that. Grind that down a little bit to make this more of a point. That way you can actually thrust with this. But if you were going to keep this part here, I'd probably have to say make this longer. That way you can, because I mean you can kind of hook stuff onto it. Can't really do much else. I can do like my forearm kind of bit, do my hand a little bit. But I'd probably make this a little bit longer. That way you can actually use it like a war spike. Or whatever the hell they call that deal. And then you could actually hook onto something with it, because really I can kind of fit my wrist into there. I don't really have that thick of wrists, so can kind of do my forearms. That's just a few things I changed, because other than that, it's not bad. Even if it is just made out of plain old stainless steel, it held up when I was hacking into tree limbs. It actually did pretty damn good, all things considered. I did even try using the saw here, and it did a little bit, but not too much. And it was having way too much of a problem even trying to get through some twigs. But other than that, it's a nice little deal. It's a nice little talking piece. But if I was going to actually go out into an apocalyptic world with it, I mean, if that's all you got, that's all you got. I'd probably rather choose this over a stuffed toy doll. But if I had my way, I'd probably change this up a few ways. That way it can actually do some good. Because just the way it is, it's not too bad, but there's definitely ways you can improve upon it, and it's a nice little talking piece. Anyways, this is Horror Hollywood. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.